systems fail and the sky falls with them, voices will rise from the static. This is the Network Failure Podcast.
What is going on, people? Welcome to the Network Failure Podcast, where we rake through the lies that the beast provides, and we get to the truth that they are trying to hide, but they're not going to hide it, right? I'm your host, Mr. Meoff. How the hell are you people? How's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? Everybody safe and healthy? I hope so, because we are in for a ride, folks. We are in for the ride. Got a lot going on. Lots going on. We got some more info on the AI data centers and the havoc that they are creating throughout our country. We're going to get into what's going on with these ticks and the alpha-gal syndrome and what can be used to prevent it, possibly fix it. We'll get into Trump's trip to China. That was fun, right? Yeah, Trump went to China. He bought all the bigwigs, and I don't think it worked out as well as he expected. What else we got going on? Thomas Massey has been dethroned. We'll get into some of that. The big race in Kentucky that they spent $35 million on, and well, they bought a seat. What can I say? They bought themselves a seat. We are under a possible attack from Cuba, so everybody watch out. And then we'll wrap it up with little bits and pieces from what's going on over in Iran. So, yeah. We got a live one here, folks. But before we get started, I want to thank y'all for listening. Thanks to Tension for our intro and outro music. And thank the Almighty Lord for every breath that I take. Because without Christ, I would not be here. Trust me. I do not lie on this one. I'm going to try to make it throughout the episode with this wonderful helmet on. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, which you should be, because we are trying to grow this channel. So if you're a YouTube viewer, please hit that subscribe button, all right? Throw me a like if you feel necessary. Anybody listening on Spotify, you know the drill. Rate the show. 5 stars is preferred, but be honest. If you don't like it, leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Comment, people. Engage. Get with me. DM. Slide in. Let's do this. Okay, so we're going to get this thing started off, right? First things first, we have got this business with alpha-gal syndrome and these Lone Star ticks. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but they have this new tick problem. It's not just Lyme's disease anymore, or the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. No, now we got alpha-gal syndrome. And alpha-gal will make you allergic, possibly deathly allergic to meat and animal products, certain animal products. So that's fun, right? Yeah, that's fun. So we'll get into some of that stuff. Let's get this rolling. From Wall Street Apes, a woman who has been raising horses for 30 years in Ohio says, "I've never had to deal with this many ticks. She can't take the tick situation anymore." Ohio has a new tick species. Ohio went from basically one medically important tick species 20 years ago to having 5 now. Some of these populations are growing very fast. There is a clip here, so let's check this clip out and see what this young lady's got to say.
Kid you not, we've had to spend like over $100 in the last 5 minutes because I can't take the tick situation anymore. The tick situation in this state. There are ticks everywhere. In 30 years, 20 some years of having horses, I've never had to deal with these many ticks. I'm pulling off ticks of his body, cleaning him up. I did that the last few days. Today I just had to put more medication on him. Poor thing, he's got like Meds everywhere. Look at poor thing. Oh my God. I'm sorry, buddy. I know. We're gonna go outside.
Terrible. This is what they're doing, folks. They are, oh, no, it's just a conspiracy theory, right? Yeah, just a conspiracy theory. This is all just entertainment, and I'm going to make this abundantly clear. I do not give medical advice. Nobody should listen to a word that I say when it comes to medical advice or financial advice, because this is all for your entertainment, folks. Just like everything else that they be feeding us, it's all entertainment. That's why I dropped off for a little bit, because I stopped getting entertained and I was starting to get really frustrated with all the shit that's going on. But, you know, they put a lot of work into their script, so why not let it run its course and let them entertain me? So that's what I'm doing. I'm having some fun with this, and I'm going to try to keep the F-bombs to a minimum if I can. All right? All right. From MJ Truth Ultra, there are reportedly tick outbreaks all over the US right now, and a significant rise in alpha-gal syndrome, also known as the red meat allergy. This is something to consider. Bovista 200, Lycopodium 200, Arsenicum album 3, twice daily. All right, what does that mean? Well, we got a clip here, and let's see what this guy's got to say. Check it out. Like I said, not medical advice.
Welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about how a woman I know who's a patron of mine on my channel has fixed completely her alpha-gal without SAAT. Stick around. All right, so there's probably a lot of you out there who have heard of alpha-gal by now. You've heard of Lyme disease, and you've heard of all these tick-borne illnesses, and there's a lot of speculation about a lot of things going on out there. Is this engineered? This is not what that video is about. My personal opinion is that I believe it's definitely engineered, but I'm not going to go through down that whole rabbit trail and try to prove that. Today, what we're going to talk about is how do you fix alpha-gal? And I can't use that C word here on YouTube because they get very angry at me. So what I'm going to tell you first off is to go ahead and consult with a licensed medical professional, find a doctor, and ask him all the questions you want to ask him or her, and then get your advice from the medical community. So there is my disclaimer. I'm telling you to do that right off the bat. Now, let's get into this. What I'm going to tell you in this video is, number one, is how to fix alpha-gal. I'm going to give you an experience of a woman I know, okay, who lives in my community, who is a patron of mine on my channel, and how she fixed completely alpha-gal without SAAT. We will talk about SAAT and some of the claims that it does, and I'm going to read you a letter from this woman, and she can explain to you how exactly she went through this process and how it worked. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about the SAAT after I read you the letter. All right, so here it is right up front. I'm going to give you what fixed her, what she lists has fixed her. Number one, it's Bovista 200, a homeopathic remedy. Bovista 200, which is derived from the puffball mushroom, okay? Also, that combined with Lycopodium 200, mixed with Arsenicum album 3. All of this will be in the description below, so you can just copy and paste it, go out on internet land, and then find these things. Lycopodium 200 mixed with Arsenicum album 3. Here is her story. I'm going to read her letter on how all of this took place.
And this account is an American Homestead on Twix. All right, if anybody wants to check out the account.
In the summer of 2024, I had a tick bite that I missed finding right away, and it started to look very ugly. It didn't have the bullseye they tell you to look for, but it streaked out in red wiggly lines about 3 to 4 inches long. Approximately 2 weeks later, I started having severe stomach pain and bloating, both symptoms I do not normally have. I started researching gallbladder attacks, thinking this might be the cause, but further research pointed me towards alpha-gal, especially after I remembered the tick bite from a few weeks prior. I started tracking my diet to figure out what was triggering the symptoms, and I quickly discovered it was indeed every time I ate beef, and later discovered I also had issues with lamb. I tried several different homeopathic remedies for the digestive distress with little to no improvement. Avoiding meat entirely was the only thing that helped. So I went months without eating beef because the previous pain was so intense I was afraid to risk it. To be clear, I did not have any reaction or symptoms with venison, elk, dairy, fish, chicken, or eggs. I finally got to a point where I was willing to try eating meat again and was encouraged when my symptoms were moderate or mild when I only ate a bite or two of meat. But numerous other attempts, even with very small amounts, caused a repeat of the intense pain and bloating. At this point, every time I would have symptoms, the pain would begin in my stomach and travel upward with a constricted feeling at the base of my throat. At times, it was alarming. I repeated the same sequence of abstaining for months and then trying a small amount of meat again with similar results. It wasn't until the fall of 2025 that a good friend of mine suggested I try some different homeopathic remedies. With homeopathy, it can be very helpful to have a medical diagnosis, which I did not have, but you can still just treat the symptoms and have good success. Bovista 200 was chosen to uproot food intolerances, and Lycopodium 200 with Arsenicum album 3 was chosen to address the bloating I experienced when I ate meat. When treating chronic conditions with practical homeopathy, not classical homeopathy, you take the remedy, usually twice daily for 2 months, and then reassess. If you've had improvement, then you know you're on the right track. So that's what I did with these remedies. Within 2 months, I started to try meat again. There was a definite shift, and I could tell my symptoms were softening. So I continued with the remedies for another 2 months, and had so much improvement that I started regularly eating modest portions of meat, working my way up to full portions with no symptoms. No symptoms. I now consider myself fully fixed. She uses a different word, but I'm going to use the word fixed because the other word might get me in trouble here on YouTube. I now consider myself fixed and eat meat 1 to 2 times a week with no symptoms at all, and would eat more if budget allowed.
So, that's good news, right? All is not lost. There is hope. There is remedies. So anybody that gets the bite, it can be stopped. Hopefully. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't even know. I don't even know this guy. Who is this guy? American Homestead. I don't know him. But it's hopeful because, like I've been stating over and over again, they want us dead, gone. They have our replacements here already. Figure it out. Anyway, from Cliff is an anti-selenite. Sulfur dust from Tractor Supply. Put a cup in an old sock, tie a sock off, and beat your clothes and shoes and socks with it. To create a tick-free area, use sulfur dust in a shaker bottle. Hold close to the ground and shake. You will see the ticks leave. They've been doing this for years. Been using this method since 1963 when fishing in tick-infested areas. From Nug's news feed over on Twix, diatomaceous earth works against ticks by physically damaging their exoskeleton. The microscopic sharp particles scratch through the waxy outer layer, causing the tick to dehydrate and die. It's a mechanical rather than chemical process, so ticks can't develop resistance. How to use it. In the yard, dust in tick-prone areas, tall grass edges, wood piles, shaded spots, and along fence lines. Reapply after rain. That's the important part about both of these remedies, or I can't think of the word right now. Shoot me. But rain. It needs to be reapplied after the rain. The sulfur, the diatomaceous earth, and also not advice. But pet bedding, sprinkle lightly on bedding and let sit before washing. Keep pets out of treated areas until the dust settles. They say you could put it on pets, but they say use only food grade diatomaceous earth. It only works when dry. Rain or moisture neutralizes it completely, and it's slow acting. It can take 24 to 48 hours to work, so it won't stop actively crawling ticks fast. It is not effective against ticks already embedded in the skin. And they go on to state or reiterate that always use food grade diatomaceous earth, not pool grade, which has been heat treated and is harmful to breathe. I wish I would have known that back in the day when I was messing with pool filters as a kid. That would have been fun, right? Yeah. All right, moving on from Belan F over on Twix. The Lone Star tick has made it to California. Let's check this clip out. This is from the What Ish podcast, I think. Check it out.
Well, the Lone Star tick has made its way to California and infected over hundreds of people in the last few months with AGS, a rare disease that makes humans allergic to red meat and dairy, forcing them to go vegan, which is interesting considering a World Economic Forum scientist said this just a couple years ago.
About milk intolerance, and some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine protein.
That's really weird, guys. So this guy was talking about modifying ticks to possibly give people red meat allergies before this outbreak happened? That's weird.
And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you will become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
That was Dr. Matthew Lau in 2016 when there was about 34,000 cases of AGS in the United States. Skip forward to today, there's over 450,000 Americans affected. How are they getting from Texas to California? Climate change. What is it ultimately going to help? Climate change. It's just crazy that this happened in Martha's Vineyard, where the global elites and WEF members vacation in the summer. Is this just an experiment or a coincidence? As always, let me know. Well,
what do you guys think about coincidences? Yeah, same here. Not buying it. Not gonna fly. Okay, let's get into some of this AI data center nonsense. From power to the people on the Twix. This is not a drill. Guess who is funding the massive AI data centers? None other than BlackRock. And its criminal CEO, Larry Fink, already knows how unpopular these data centers are, so he's preemptively accusing any American who fights back as being a domestic terrorist. Check this out.
Many more things are going to have to be underground. But even here in the United States, if we're going to be building, let's say, these 1 gigawatt data centers, how do we make sure we're not protecting those $50 billion, $75 billion investments? We have to re-look at everything because of the role of drone warfare. Right now we're looking at it internationally, but one of my concerns is, could it be a domestic terrorism using a $3,000 drone? So all of these things are actually opportunities, not problems. It's going to require, as we said, trillions of dollars of capital. Governments cannot build these out alone. They don't have the wherewithal. And two, their deficits are started to be mounting. And we spend too little time talking about the U.S. deficits and other countries' deficits. So this is all going to be the role of private sector. Many more things are going to have to be underground.
All right, guys. I don't know if you're noticing, but this is not going to stop. AI is here to stay, and they are pushing. That's why they want federal regulations on it, so the states cannot stop it. They are using the water that is supposed to be used for agriculture to cool these data centers. They're using drinking water to cool these data centers. Yeah, they're saying that it's their water, but ask the residents. Ask the residents what they want. They're getting council members. 3 council members, I believe, in Utah voted on the massive data center going up out there, where Tucker had Kevin O'Leary on, and he's stating that the people voted for it. The people voted for their council people, yeah, but how hard is it for these billion-dollar corporations to just buy a couple votes? You know what I mean? Just a little food for thought. Just a little bit. All right, let's move along here. From the Health Ranger, you see that? They want an extra 414 diesel generators and millions of gallons on diesel in sight. What the F are they building that needs all this energy all of a sudden? Like they're all panicked to consume the entire energy of the world. And he reposted one from Ben Inskeep. Amazon proposes an extra 414 backup diesel generators at its new Carlisle, Indiana data center complex. This brings the total for Project Rainier to 909 backup diesel generators, totaling more than 2,400 megawatts. That's nuts. They want this data center shit. And you guys know why they want it. This is not to generate little videos or to write term papers. This is to hold all of the surveillance, the massive surveillance for this new digital cage that they're setting up around us. We are going to be China, folks. We're going to be China. Let's hear it from somebody that is Chinese, I think. This is game theory number 24 from Predictive History, Professor Zhang. Let's see what he's got to say about this AI apocalypse.
Exponential. So you have 1 million people in your database and you want to find patterns among this million people. Well, that takes a lot of energy, okay? But if it's 1 billion people, then there's not enough energy in the universe to process all this, okay? So.
But they could just get rid of some of us, right? If they get rid of some of us with the tick or something like that, then it'll work.
So, and unfortunately, AI is extremely energy intensive. It is very inefficient. Okay? Does that make sense? The last problem is fragility. So, unfortunately, people, for whatever reason, believe that AI is independent of the world. AI is independent of humans, right? Their goal is to replace humans. No, guys. That's not how this works, okay? AI is designed on top of humans. Okay? So, in other words, it is human slaves that make AI possible. Why? Because, for example, facial recognition technology, you need humans to actually input the faces manually, okay? Images, right? How do you get a computer to recognize a sheep or a dog? Humans have to label the images, okay? ChatGPT. Why is ChatGPT so good at writing essays? Because they got humans to write the essays as models, okay? Do you understand? So AI is based entirely on human slavery. Okay?
Human
and
slavery
obedience.
and obedience. Wow.
So on humans, AI doesn't work. The problem is that AI is far more expensive than humans. And it's actually hard in the long term to enslave humans and make humans obedient. Also, data centers, okay? Data centers. What's wrong with data centers? Well, they consume a lot of resources, water and electricity, okay? And financing. They cost a lot, they waste a lot of water, they waste a lot of electricity. And this is really important, it's really easy to sabotage, blow up a data center. We're already seeing this in the Middle East, where Iran is targeting data centers in the Middle East, and it's very easy to blow them up, okay? So these are 3 major issues, or three major constraints on artificial intelligence becoming God. The problem is the people in charge don't know this, or they refuse to believe this. And this is a real AI apocalypse, okay? The real apocalypse, where the people in charge are so convinced that AI will save the world that they will destroy it in order to make it possible, okay? That is a real apocalypse. And so this begins our journey into AI, and we're going to continue this for the rest of the semester and show how AI will ultimately destroy the world. Okay? Any questions? Do you guys understand what's going on? Okay? Really important for you to understand that the people in charge of AI are crazy. These are occultists. They literally want to create God, but to create God, they first have to destroy the world. All right.
Crazy. Pretty crazy. These people are nuts. You getting this? They are batshit crazy, and they're going to destroy the world to get what they want. Their AI cage, their AI overlord. From Shadow of Ezra, Benjamin Netanyahu declares that Israel is racing to dominate the AI revolution. Well, go figure. You are blowing my mind here, while saying that he is basically AI himself. Really? Well, a lot of talk about that, guys. Remember the 6-fingered Netanyahu? Check it out. When I talked about cyber over a decade ago, they said I was a virtual prime minister. Today, we are number 2 in the world. When I talk about I walk today, artificial, they say I'm basically AI. But when you're right,
אבל כשאתה צודק,
you do what's
אתה
right
עושה את מה שנכון
for the
למדינת
state of
ישראל.
Israel. And I
ואני
know
יודע
that the
שהעתיד
future
של
of
כל ילדי ישראל,
all Israeli children is
קשור
deeply
בטבורו
connected to AI. Oh, really nice.
לכן בחופשת הקיץ
That's why
הקרובה,
during the upcoming summer
נפעיל
vacation, we will run
מסגרות
special
מיוחדות לילדי
programs
ישראל,
for Israeli children from
הילדים עד
kindergarten
כיתות
to
ט'.
ninth. As part of
במסגרת
this, we will
אנחנו
train them
נכשיר
in the
אותם
field
בתחום הבינה
of
המלאכותית,
artificial intelligence, which is
שמשנה את
transforming the
העולם
entire
כולו.
world.
אני
I
רוצה
want
שתלמידי
Israeli
ישראל
students to be the
יהיו
best
הכי
at
טובים
ChatGPT, to be the
ב-ChatGPT,
best
יהיו הכי טובים
at
בקלוד,
cloud computing and many
ובהרבה
other
תחומים
fields,
אחרים.
even
ועוד
before
לפני
their final
הבגרויות.
exams. Of
כמובן שאנחנו
course,
נסייע גם
we will
לתלמידים,
also
לכל
help
התלמידים,
all students catch
להשלים
up
פערי
on the
לימוד
learning gaps
שנצברו
that
במהלך
accumulated
המלחמה.
during this war.
כי העתיד של...
Yeah, what about that Manab school, that schoolgirl, that school for girls? What about they're catching them up? No, that's going to be a problem, right? Yeah, I think so.
שלנו,
Because
קודם
our
כל,
future and the first and
הילדים
foremost,
שלנו.
our children,
אני
I
רוצה
want
לברך
to
את
commend
שר החינוך
education
יואב קיש,
Minister Yoav
שר
Kish and
האוצר
Finance
בצלאל
Minister
סמוטריץ',
Bezalel
שעבדו
Smotrich,
יחד בעבודה
who worked together
מצוינת.
excellently, and they really
ועשו
did.
באמת,
They
הביאו
truly
באמת
brought
תוכנית
an excellent
מצוינת.
program
שהיא
that
טובה
is good
לילדים,
for the children,
טובה
good for the
להורים,
parents,
טובה
good for the
למשק,
economy, and good for the
טובה
future
לעתיד המדינה.
of our country. Uncle Bibi. Yep, they want to be the masters of AI, the overlords. So you understand? If AI is going to rule over us, and you've got Netanyahu saying that they're going to run the AI, guess what, folks? We're still sitting in America. We're sitting in the same little boat that we were sitting in before because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We're still occupied. That's my song. All right, from technology over on the gram, a Georgia data center used 29 million gallons of water without anyone billing them until residents started losing water pressure. A Georgia data center under construction quietly used 29 million gallons of water through improperly tracked connections, only discovered after nearby residents started experiencing serious water pressure problems. Investigators traced the issue to the QT's massive 615-acre Fayetteville campus, where 2 industrial pipes were found, including one installed without approval and another never properly billed, leading to a retroactive $147,474 charge, while the QTS said the water was mainly used for concrete work, construction, and dust control. The controversy fueled wider concerns about how fast data centers are expanding and the strain they can place on local infrastructure, prompting Fayetteville to ban new data centers, while QTS says its finished facility will rely on closed-loop cooling with far lower operational water use. I don't know about all that, but as you can see, they were just taking all of that fresh, clean water for free. They were not being charged, and they weren't making any noise to pay for it, were they? From Jason Bassler on Twix, if you see a helicopter towing one of these over your neighborhood, bad news, your town is getting a data center. They're running airborne electromagnetic surveys to map groundwater in the area. Translation, figuring out how much water they can divert before the people notice. And you guys can see this picture. Looks like a gigantic coat hanger rigged to hanging from a helicopter. I don't know. Kind of weird. But that's what they're using to look for the water that they're going to steal. Nice, right? Very nice. All right, check this out. From Wall Street Apes, you could watch the surveillance state in America being put up in real time. This chart shows the amount of flock cameras being put up from January 1st, 2024 through May 2026. This is crazy, these flock cameras. Check this out.
And remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would.
Take a look. Look at it grow.
And remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't.
We are being consumed by the AI. The surveillance state, folks. It is here. It is here. There's no talk about it. There's no stopping it. It's here. From Health Ranger, there is stop hiring humans billboards appearing out in public. I don't know. This is New York City. San Francisco and New York City are displaying stop hiring human signs. The era of AI employees is here. Still believe AI is not going to take jobs, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It's time to take the heads off the pillows. From Eric Daughtry, TC Drano, and the typical liberal, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has just banned AI data centers from using up all the water needed by citizens during a drought. And the law bans utility companies from charging higher prices because of the data centers. How are you, and I guess this is a quote, how are you going to say that somehow the water can go to a data center when we need water for our own people and for the core functions of our society? That's right. I mean, if he could do it, why aren't other governments doing it? Administrations doing it. Sorry about that. I just, brain took a shit. You know, if he could do it, then they could do it in Kentucky, they could do it in Kansas, they could do it in New York, but they don't want to do it, right? No, because they want you enslaved. Let's take a listen to what DeSantis has to say about it. I'll give him a minute.
How the water can go to data center when we need the water for our own people and for the core functions of our society. Now, in November, Florida DEP and water management districts updated their rules and policies to ensure data centers of any size have to apply for and be subject to public meetings to be considered for a consumptive use permit in order to tap into Florida's water resources. And that's something that is huge protection to you as an individual, as well as to your communities. We understood that people wanted protection against having their rates raised as a result of these data centers, and so we work with the legislature to be able to get the legislation that I'm going to sign here today, which is Florida Senate Bill 484. What it does is it protects consumers from footing the bill for any hyperscale data center in the state of Florida. The bill also revises Florida law regarding the regulation of large-scale data centers and other large electricity users. So specifically, it ensures that local governments maintain the authority to exercise the powers and responsibilities for comprehensive planning and land development regulation for large load customers, including the data center. When they were doing the bill to not allow the state to touch any of the AI stuff last year that failed in the U.S. Senate, one of the reasons they wanted to do it, they wanted to override local zoning and hotline these data centers in wherever the companies wanted to put them. So just imagine, I mean, they would do it and you could live here and not have any way to say that you don't want to do it. It would just be a decision that the company would unilaterally make for how they're using the land. I think a lot of people wouldn't want that. So this makes sure that local governments are ultimately in control about how their communities are developing vis-a-vis these hyperscale data centers.
Yeah, that's great. But tell it to the people of Lake Tahoe. They got an announcement that they have like a year and a half to find somewhere else to get their electric because all of the electric is going to be going to a data center. All right? And this is good news. It's great to see a fucking politician that acting like they give a shit about us, but this is just smoke and mirrors. They don't give a shit about anybody. All right? They do not care. Florida may be a little more promising than other places, though, but don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. All right, what do we got here? From Shane Vibes the Truth. They want us all hooked up in a digital prison. Yes, I think this is on the Mexico thing. Let's check it out.
In Mexico and will be fully in place by June 30th, 2026, which affects 127 million people. Listen to this. And this is what people have been warning about for years, and they were called theorists. Like, there's no way they would do that. It's happening in Mexico, and it's planned to happen everywhere else, by the way. So this is why we need to say no. Mexico is mandating, remember, mandates mean nothing if you say no, that all 127 million mobile phone users register their phone numbers with biometric data, including fingerprints, iris scans, and facial recognition by June 30th, 2026. And if you don't, you will be cut off from cell service. Every single user with a SIM card must register. All phone lines, including prepaid/Amigo lines. Now, they say this is to boost security and unauthorized or unregistered lines that's going to face suspension. But it's aiming to curb extortion. Now, I'm sure, yes, like in theory, sure, if everyone's connected to their ID on their phone, they can't be, that's like safer, like there's less crime that can happen. But is this about stopping the crime, or is it about making a digital database where anything anyone says can be tracked, traced, and monitored back to them as an individual person? And if you're in China and everything's connected and digitally connected to you, and you say something like, I don't really like what the government's doing right now, then what happens? We all know. So is this problem, reaction, solution? Now, we don't know for sure what's coming around the corner, but certainly it's obvious they do want us in an altered state of consciousness with the crazy chemicals in the food, air, and water supply, which weaken us. We know that. Testosterone levels, fertility, brain function, it's all being attacked by all the chemicals and poisons all over the place. If you think it's important to...
All right, he's just getting into an ad break, so we're not going to go there. From Man Van de Steel over on Twix, it's official. Trump wants data centers. Yepper. Feels like a redirect to digital money. Pair these with the Genius Clarity Acts, and you now have track and trace digital currency, but not under globalist brand CBDC, and all ring reported to the IRS. You're welcome. That's right. This is what they're going to be using for control. Tracking your taxes, the CBDC. They need these data centers, guys. That's why they're so important. They got all their eggs in this basket. They are not going to let us smash it. Not going to happen. And that's why they got people getting accused that they're going to be a domestic terrorist if they don't want a data center sucking up all their water. Crazy. From Wall Street Apes, another American has just been informed half her property will be seized by eminent domain by Georgia Power. Let's check out the clip.
Hey you guys, it's Ansley Brown on the fight to save my mom's house from eminent domain. Here I am today with another mother and a homeowner who this is affecting. What is it taking from her? Look behind me. It's taking this entire backyard, the pool and everything. Tell us about it.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I am just one of many homeowners who are impacted by Georgia Power's high voltage power lines that are going in to support data centers that are being built all over. We were informed that they were going to come in and take more than half of our property. They are going to demo all of these trees, playhouse, fence, fire pit, the pool, the spa, all of this, including our two neighbors' houses. They're completely demoing theirs. This easement is only going to be 12 feet from our house, 12 feet from our bedroom where we sleep. Now, they did say that they would take the entire house, that they would purchase the entire house. However, that purchase is based off of their own appraised value of the house, which is significantly less than our appraised value for the house, our own private appraisal. So it's not also sufficient enough to replace what we have. We have been told many times by them that they don't have to buy the house. They can only buy the easement, which would just decimate everything, every single thing, the pool, all of this, everything that we have spent 17 years building. It would be a financial devastation because we would never be able to rebuild this, especially at our age. And this is the only home our daughters have ever known. Georgia Power is owned by the Southern Company. The Southern Company is a $105 billion market capital company. They are bigger and just as big as the four combined capital markets of the four major airlines in the United States. Delta, United, American, and Southwest. Combine their market capitalization, and that equals the Southern Company, who owns Georgia Power. These data centers that are being built, they're being built for 5 primary companies that equate to $13 trillion in market capitalization. To put that in perspective, you take all the GDPs in the world, and there's only 2 that beat that, and that's the United States and China. Georgia Power is expecting all of the tax citizens and the landowners here to subsidize their project, to subsidize these data centers. And enough is enough.
Thank you. That was amazing. You guys, out here, this is happening, like I said, to 330 properties. There are 21 homes that are being affected by this in Coweta County, Georgia. Not only does Georgia Power not care about our American farmers, they also don't care about our American mothers. This is
crazy. That is crazy. I don't know what to say. This is a shame. It's very, very unfortunate that people are going through all this. But you're kind of getting what you voted for in some of these places. If you're living in like a really, really blue state, you're going to have a lot of this going on with not a lot of pushback. But hey, look at what the red states are doing too. So I really don't know. This is just, it's all about control and enslavement, and this is not looking good, guys. This is some mark of the beast shit right here. No joke. From the Tone Bone 13 over on Twix. No wonder data centers are being built across the country against our will. The sociopath Larry Fink is behind it all. And this is just a repeat of BlackRock CEO Larry Fink declaring a preemptive war. Yeah, we already went over that. Sorry about that, folks. Here's a map from Dr. Jane Ruby on Twix. DC, NYC, Atlanta, and Dallas getting hit hard. Department of Energy map showing every data center in America. Yellow is operating, orange under construction, and white planned. Take a look at this. Does that get bigger? Look at that. Wow. We are being consumed. This is nuts. Very scary, folks. But have fun with it. You know, this is all entertainment. All having a great time. China's not having a good time. No, well, Trump's not having a good time. He didn't have a good time with his little trip to China. Because apparently China is, they're skipping on the NVIDIA chips. This is from Crypto Goose. Bad news for NVIDIA. First, Beijing didn't want the chips, and now they're banning them. China just added NVIDIA's RTX 5090D V2 to its customs banned list during Jensen Huang's visit with Trump in town. The chip was designed specifically to meet U.S. export rules, and they banned it anyway. Beijing is making it clear the era of Chinese reliance on U.S. tech is over. Huawei and Combricon win. NVIDIA loses one of its biggest end markets in slow motion. President Trump said China chose not to buy NVIDIA's NVDA H200 chips despite U.S. approval. No, they banned them. They didn't just choose not to buy them. They banned them. Nuts. All right, from Eric Daughtry, CIA whistleblower testifies under oath that Dr. Anthony Fauci was directly involved in covering up the origins of COVID-19. This is from Fox News. Check out the clip.
Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the Diggs review. Intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in a cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20 plus years. Some of the scientists were part of the Biological Sciences Experts Group, or the BSEG, an office of Director National Intelligence Advisory Body, whose members often receive considerable funding from NIAID and public health agencies. The BSEG scientists influenced national laboratory, WMD research, policy decisions, finished analysis, and other intelligence matters, creating misaligned incentives and conflicts of interest, as well as counterintelligence issues. Since 2006, the BSEG consulted part-time on biodefense issues for the IC, while conducting government-funded research and holding academia positions, as well as maintaining roles in public health institutions and serving as members in the National Academy of Science. They received funding from NIAID and other agencies for vaccine research, USAID's PREDICT project, the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, and even worked with Chinese scientists on coronavirus and other pathogen studies pursuing vaccines. There was no oversight monitoring how this web of relationships influenced research, policy, and public health in any holistic way for over 20 years. In fact, several of the BSEG scientists helped Dr. Fauci rewrite definitions of gain of function in 2015 to lift a funding pause on dangerous research. Still others participated in planning Event 201 in 2019. This was a coronavirus pandemic tabletop exercise, curiously similar to the events that played out during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it
Curiously similar, exactly the same.
was attended by Dr. Fauci and individuals with IC ties like former DNI Avril Haines. The CIA and DNI analytic managers responsible for examining the origin of COVID made decisions inconsistent with the conclusions of subject matter experts and analytical tradecraft.
So there it is, guys. Intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in a cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for emergency use authorization of an mRNA product. Yeah, but everybody got mandated to take the safe and effective yum-yum, right? It's still being pushed. It is not off the market. But now it's out there that Fauci's directly involved, whistleblowers. Is anything going to happen? You think anything's going to happen? Very doubtful, folks. Very, very doubtful. From the real Toria Brooke and two others over on Instagram, CIA Director John Radcliffe visits Cuba. That's interesting. President Trump brings, I can't see, brokered a deal. President Trump brokered a deal with China. The nation is now sending ships to buy U.S. oil. Check it out. Oops.
From Texas and Louisiana, from the United States, Alaska. We've got so much of it. And he said he likes the idea. He'd like to talk about that. I think it'll happen. Yeah. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. I don't know.
I think that would be a huge announcement.
Look, they're doing it right now. They're sending Chinese ships up to buy oil.
They do.
So we're doing, and I don't like talking about it because then the fake news media says, Trump doesn't talk about the fact that somebody's paying 2.5 from, I had it down to $1.85 in Iowa a gallon. So now it's $4 and it's going to not be long. And as soon as the war ends, it's going to go down to lower than it was before. It's going to be very quick.
Out of diesel and fuel oil, and he is now facing a major energy crisis. Officials say parts of Havana are dealing with 20 to 22-hour blackouts, forcing hospitals, school and government offices to shut down or scale back. Cuba normally gets oil from Venezuela and Mexico, but supplies have dropped after new US pressure on countries sending fuel to the island. Now, rare protests are breaking out in Havana, with people in the streets demanding electricity and basic services. The US says it has offered $100 million in aid if Cuba agrees to political reforms, while Cuba blames the US blockade for pushing the country deeper into crisis.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to go after Cuba, guys. That's coming next, because look at that. CIA Director John Radcliffe is visiting Cuba.
If you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China.
All right, let's see. What do we got next? Let's see what Trump has to say about Xi Jinping. Let's see. Let me get this up and running. My bad, folks. This is, yeah, he's talking about Xi Jinping as being very tall. He went to Central Casting. Where they get everybody from? Central Casting, right?
You went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China to play a role in a movie.
Central Casting.
He's Central Casting. You couldn't find a guy like him. Even his physical features, he's tall, very tall, and especially for this country because they tend to be a little bit shorter. You look at the military. I mean, the military today was incredible. That military marching was incredible.
Did he just say the Chinese people were short? That's just hilarious. No, now it doesn't want to play anymore? What's going on here?
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
Fair enough.
On the war.
So,
well, I mean, you could make the case, like, why are we even? We're doing it to help Israel and to help Saudi Arabia and to help Qatar and UAE and Kuwait and other countries.
We're not doing it for us. We have
Bahrain.
no benefit.
It also
Why
helps
are we
China.
there?
And we're actually, I told them today, I said, we're helping you. And we're helping you in another way because I don't think China wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon either. I said, they're stone cold crazy. You don't need them having a nuclear weapon either.
What did he say?
Well, he's not going to respond too much. He's a pretty cool guy. He's not going to say, "Oh, gee, that's a good point."
I think he might.
What's he going to do? What a wonderful point.
You think he agreed?
Yeah, I think
that was the impression.
I don't think he wants them to have. No, he would like to see it end. But he's been good about it,
Yeah, so Trump is assuming that Xi Jinping is in agreement that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And as you can see, he stated and admitting that we're doing it to help Israel. We're doing it for Saudi Arabia and to help Qatar. And they were not in any trouble before. Now Iran is lobbing missiles at them, but they were not in any trouble before. But, here we come to help out. And we always help out. And everybody's always happy when we're done, right? Always a satisfied customer. So Trump's trip to China was, not as successful as he would have liked, I believe. I don't know if he's getting the help that he was begging for. But, there's a good possibility that we're going to open up, more economic trade with China, and we'll put an end to this trade war that's been going on for a while. But it's all a show, guys. Because we have to have data centers, because we have to beat China, our greatest enemy. Yet we're helping China while we're fighting China. While we're destroying Iran to hurt China, we're helping China because Trump is admitting that he's going around in circles. Let's hear some more. From Disclosed TV and Fox News, Trump says it's good to have 500,000 foreign Chinese students. Check it out.
I would assume I'm in Beijing if I wanted to buy property near one of their military installations. I don't think President Xi...
No, they wouldn't let you. I don't... Look, it's not that I love it. You want to see farm prices drop? You want to see farmers lose...
But you see, how his tune has changed now that he needs China's help? Check it out.
Lose a lot of money. Just take that out of the market. But they've had a lot of land for a long time. Obama did nothing about it. They bought a lot of it during the Obama administration. He did nothing about it. As far as the students, it's 500,000 students. They come, good students. I could tell them, I don't want any students, is a very insulting thing to say to a country. They would then immediately go out and start building universities all over China. But if you don't have those students, good students, by the way, if you don't, and we do another thing, if they're good and they want to stay in America, we won't give them a green card and things like that. And that's not only them, but other countries. But if you want to see a university system die, take 500,000 people out of it. And the ones that won't be hurt are the top schools. The top schools will do fine, but your lower schools, the ones that don't do quite as well, they'll be dying all over the place. I frankly think that it's good that people come from other countries and they learn our culture, and many of them want to stay here. I think it's good. Not everybody agrees with me, and it doesn't sound like a very conservative position. And I'm a conservative guy. I'm really a common sense guy, I think, more than a conservative guy. I think MAGA is common sense, people understand we want strong borders, we want strong military, we want good education, we want low interest rates, we want, but
yeah, you want strong borders, but you want to invite 500,000 Chinese students. You want to get a real hold on this immigration and reform our immigration policies. Yet H-1B visas are going through the roof, right? All these high-paying jobs given off to, I don't know, Bangladeshis or Indians, or what are they, Bengalis? I don't know. But this is Trump changing his fucking tune again. Sorry, guys, for the language. All over again. You guys want to hear more? Let's hear a little bit more. It is entertaining.
I think people would argue they worry about, do they have nefarious intentions?
Sure, I know, and we worry about that. And honestly, they do things to us and we do things to them. It's a very, very fine line, the whole thing with students. So they have 500,000 students, and our university system does great. It does great. You want to screw it up, take 500,000 students out. And
But what are you going to tell the 500,000 American citizens that are looking for a spot in that school? What are you telling them?
And you're gonna see bankruptcies at the lower end of good colleges, but they're not known or whatever. You're gonna have a lot of problems. So it's something I'm always looking at. But it's a very insulting thing to tell a country, we don't want your people in our schools. I mean, it really is. Now I'll have people say, oh, that's a terrible thing. You know, it is a very insulting thing. And it's very interesting. It's something that didn't come up today. Came up last time. But I will tell you that school systems don't want that to happen because you won't have much of a school system.
You need that money. Need that good Chinese money. All right, well, CIA Director John Ratcliffe was visiting Cuba, so guess what, guys? From Megatron, Cuba starts arming itself with drones from Russia and Iran, per Axios. Cuba acquired 300 drones, mostly from Russia and Iran, which were discussing using them against U.S. military installations on the island or nearby areas, Axios reports, citing classified intelligence. Can anybody smell a false flag? You smell it? From United 24 Media, Cuba has purchased over 300 drones from Russia and Iran. It's just, it's the same Axios report. Sorry about that. So, false flag incoming. Our excuse to invade Cuba is right on the way because they're going to attack us. Yep. They're devastated. They're on the brink of collapse. They have no energy, yet all of a sudden they're going to decide to get up the stones to fucking shoot drones at us? Okay. Yeah, that's definitely happening. All right. Well, I got bad news, guys. And it was expected. Thomas Massie was unseated from Congress. He's lost his seat. MAGA is back. That's what they're saying. They're saying Make America Great Again is back and stronger than ever. Now that you got Thomas Massie out. This is the guy that did not want to give foreign aid to any country, not just Israel, any country, because we need the money. It's our money. They stole my money and they're giving it off to somebody else. But no, we got to get rid of that guy. From Nick Sorter, Thomas Massie just wrapped up his concession speech, hinting at a possible 2028 presidential run. Let's check it out.
So our job, and I'm not going to make any announcements tonight. I'm going to go back, have me a medical margarita. I'll hang out and party with you all. You know I don't drink recreationally. I have medical margaritas. I even have a medical margarita card. But what happened today, what happened tonight was God's will. And we have to figure out what was the purpose of having the biggest fight ever.
Because all of this stuff was already written down thousands of years ago, guy. This is God's will. Nothing happens without God willing it.
Biggest fight ever. Why did it converge on one of 435 congressional seats right here in Kentucky? What was God's purpose? What is he showing us tonight? We're just getting started. I like that.
It's showing us how hard they will try to get rid of somebody that will not bend the knee. Oh, they want him. That'll never happen. Never happen.
What happens in 2028? You want? You want me to run for Congress again? I don't know what you're talking about.
They'll never let it happen.
All right, well, you made a compelling argument. You spoke your piece, but I need a medical margarita right now. And we'll talk about it later. Thank you and God bless.
All right. Well, like he said, God's will, and it's opened the eyes of a lot of people. Everybody could see what's going on. Health Ranger smells a stolen election. This is from Sam Parker. Did Massey get 2020'd? Massey increased his turnout by 19% over 2024. Gowron increased the opposition turnout by 357%. Today's turnout doubled 2024's in the highest overall vote in Kentucky history. Was this really driven by the get out the vote millions? Suspicious. It is pretty suspicious. You guys can see those numbers, my YouTuber friends. Yeah. Pretty nuts. I am going to be posting this. This is like right in the middle of everything on Rumble. So if anybody's interested in checking it out on Rumble, I'm just putting it out there. Probably safer over there, but eventually nothing's going to be safe. And you guys are going to look for smoke signals in the sky or vape signals. You know, I don't smoke anymore. All right. From Shadow of Ezra, Thomas Massey says Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was personally going to visit Kentucky to make sure he lost the election. They did not want this dude to win. They spent $35 million to get rid of this dude. They sent the Secretary of War out to see him.
But I've heard that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is coming to intervene in my campaign. Look, dogs don't bark at parked cars. And the fact that you got cabinet secretaries that may be coming to my district to campaign against me during a war, the Secretary of War during a war,
that says
shows
something.
how serious this is to the global elites that I lose. And that's why it's so serious that I do win. If there's going to be any hope in Washington, D.C., if there's going to be any voice, anybody that ever challenges the narrative, whether it's on war or whether it's on immunity for companies, whether they're data centers or whether they're pesticide manufacturers. Look, there's all kinds of cronies that, not just the foreign influence cronies, but corporate cronies on the meat packing industry. And you'll see occasional fake fights where Republicans may engage in a fake fight, and then I show it's all fake. And that's why they hate me for breathing air in the swamp.
Mm-hmm. That's right, buddy. I think he was the one honest person that we had there, and I've heard many things that he also takes that money as well. He might not take it directly from AIPAC, but in a roundabout way as well. Another one from Redacted. That last clip was from Redacted. Apologies for not giving the credit. Representative Massey has introduced the AIPAC Act in Congress, legislation that would require AIPAC to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Yes, that was Thomas Massey.
Today, I introduced a bill called the AIPAC Act. You'll see this come up. Nobody knows this. I'm debuting it on your show right now, which would make AIPAC subject to Foreign Agent Registrations Act. For some reason, they're immune right now. And I think not just the money that's spent in politics, but the lobbying that happens on Capitol Hill should be reported if it's a foreign country, whether it's Great Britain, Australia, Turkey, Qatar, or Israel. It needs to be reported.
And the amount of money that goes to these influencers, it's really interesting. You'll see them sort of all, publishing the same attacks online almost simultaneously, or they'll release videos. They're all on the same page, and it's like they're receiving talking points. They should have to disclose that they're receiving this money, right?
Yeah, when I do a commercial, and I've said this so many times, when my sleep, I think about it. I'm Thomas Massey, and I approve this message. I'm Thomas Massey, and I approve this message. That's either at the front or the end of every commercial I do. And when I send out a piece of mail, it says who did it, and, my campaign, Thomas Massey for Congress, approved by Thomas Massey for Congress, paid by. And we need that. I believe we should have that same sort of truth in advertising on social media, because if it's a good idea in the other outlets, it would be a good idea on social media, particularly because so much of it is foreign money. I remember all these complaints about election interference, fraudulent elections, and the Russians being involved, and who else being involved. But really, the elections are being influenced online.
Absolutely. And that's why they want control of all the social media. Who brought up all the social media? Huh? Who? I'm asking. I don't know. Maybe Stu Peters knows. Oh, Stu Peters knows. Stu Peters knows. Thomas Massey's opponent. This is a post from Stu Peters. This is a quote. Actually, I don't have to quote. This is Ed Gallerin. It looks like he's on a show USA Cares or something. Yeah, USA Cares. Check
In
it out.
1973, we moved away from conscription selective service and went to the all-volunteer force.
Right.
And so that's been the most challenging few years since that transition, and that is a significant issue for national security. And now back to the question about, well, selective service and the attitudes about it. I would offer there is a cultural issue, and that it does appear we have a corrosion of our culture and the commitment to what our nation stands for. If you figure, we got to start selective service, we got to get them through all the in-processing, boot camp, training, you're talking months downstream. Do we really have that time anymore?
No.
Is that a deeply flawed concept?
Yeah.
And so what would really happen if we had to go from what I call a cold start of a pending, world war? How fast, and what would really happen if we had to re-implement selective service, i.e. the draft, train, equip, and prepare to deploy those forces? I'm not sure we have that kind of time anymore.
Right.
Because of speed and lethality. We want to stay in deterrence. I'm not so sure that we're on as high ground in deterrence as we could be with sort of the way things are unfolding relative to our ability to field combat power.
Yeah.
And so the selective service to draft pertain.
So there he is, pro-draft. Yep, there's your winner, guys. That's our new congressman. Isn't that fun? You guys like that, right? I know you like it. Here's some more Ed Gallerin. This is from Shadow of Ezra. Let's see what he's got to say. I'm going to let him surprise me, and I'm going to read
I
it.
went recently to one of the radio interviews I'm fond of doing to talk to the American people about what's going on, things that would be important to them. And I came in with 13 pages of the unclassified. If I brought the classified attack, it'd be 1,013 pages. I can't talk about it. They're one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I went recently to one of the radio interviews I'm fond of doing to talk to the American people about what's going on, things that would be important to them. And I came in with 13 pages of the unclassified. If I brought the classified attack, it'd be 1,013 pages. I can't talk about it. They're one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
You see where they're steering this, guys? Bringing on the apocalypse. In classified documents, nonetheless. This is just too much. I'm telling you, Hollywood has nothing on, I don't know what we would call them, the script writers, the puppet masters. I don't know. They're not my masters. I can't even say master, right? Master Bates. I don't know. Going off on a tangent. Tangerine. From Shadow of Ezra, Thomas Massey says his election will decide whether Israel can continue to buy off future American politicians. Check it out.
Unfortunately, it's turned into whether Israel gets to buy seats in Congress. And what they found out is that my seat's really expensive. They've probably, when this is over, will have spent $20 million.
35.
And come up short.
So why is Israel the only country that gets to buy elections in the United States?
Why is that?
Or does any other country get to? Is
I've never seen Great Britain or Australia or even Germany play in our elections here in the United States, but Israel gets so much from the United States. It's a one-sided relationship. They get us to be their proxies in wars that they want against their enemies.
That's because they're our greatest ally. You forget that. They're our friends.
They get our military assistance, they get our technology, they get our bombs, they get our tax dollars. And I think it's a very one-sided relationship. At least with NATO, we pretend that they would come to our aid someday if we needed it. And even that's a ruse.
Yeah, well, you look what happened over in the Strait, right? Yuppers. They aren't helping anybody. Next up from Anomaly on Twix, You got Trump practically admitting he wants Israel to own the United States Congress. Listen to this.
Well, you know, the biggest change I've seen in Congress is Israel literally owned Congress. You understand that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And it was so powerful. It was so powerful. And today it's almost the opposite. You have between AOC and Omar and these people that hate Israel. They hate it with a passion. They're controlling Congress, and Israel is not a force in Congress anymore. It's just.
I wonder who's next. Who are they gonna primary next?
Amazing. I've never seen such a change, and we're not talking about over a very long period of time. But I think you know exactly what I'm saying. They had such power. Israel had such power, and rightfully, over Congress, and now it doesn't. It's incredible, actually.
Very incredible. That's Trump on the Ari Hoffman show. Israel's best friend, our greatest ally, our El Presidente, Donald J. Trump. Can't believe I voted for that freaking stooge. Okay, from We Are Breitbart over on the gram, trans PDF witch demands to conduct rituals nude in New Jersey women's prison, allowing men to film his own, and he allowed, what? He allowed men to film his own young daughter being SA'd. In what would be no doubt a first in New Jersey prison life, a transgender PDF is demanding his women's prison allow him to go naked and conduct nighttime Wiccan rituals in the prison yard. Why not? Marina Voles, 37, a biological male born Matthew, is incarcerated for 25 years at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in Clinton, New Jersey, for human trafficking and producing pornography of his own 7-year-old daughter, says the New York Post. According to the tabloid, Voles claims to be Wiccan and sued the prison, the New Jersey Department of Corrections, and the head of religious services, Dr. Joy Lynch, in 2023 for religious discrimination, alleging he was denied access to religious items such as tabards, a sleeveless Wiccan vestment, and the ability to worship on Wiccan holy days. Wicca is a pagan religion that first sprang up in England in the 1950s, whose adherents practice witchcraft and refer to themselves as witches. So a transgender witch wants to go naked in the prison yard and it's not allowed to. Oh, boo fucking who? What the fuck? I'm sorry. Voles is now reportedly in settlement talks with the state attorney general's office. In February, he admitted through his lawyers numerous demands for religious accommodation, which included the ability to conduct rituals sky-clad, the Wiccan term for nude. Sky-clad, running butt naked in the yard. That's why you want to be in a women's prison, right? I'm pretty fucking sure. Because you wouldn't get through, well, you might like it. I don't know how you roll. He also seeks the ability to maintain a witch's garden, to grow the sacred herbs, and have access to the Book of Shadows, of course, which contains instructions for magical rituals, as well as the pentacle incense and 3 electric or battery-operated candles and a cup of grape juice as a substitute for fucking wine. Get out of here! Oh my goodness, what's going on? That's Redux reported that. The brazen requests did not end there. Voles is demanding he be allowed to marry his transgender accomplice in his child sex abuse case. Fuck out of here! Go! You gotta get out! Ashley Ramiro, who is a biological man. All right. I don't know. I'm sorry I lost it, guys, but whoo, that's some story, right? How do you follow that? Well, China has mechanized robots, mech tech. They have got a man inside the mech. Check this out. This is from Sexy Finance on Instagram. Spelled SXE. It's tricky. It's tricky. Check out this clip.
A reality. Unitree Robotics today unveiled the GD01, the world's first production-ready manned transformable mecha. The machine weighs 500 kilograms with a pilot on board, walks on 2 legs, punches through brick walls, and shifts into a 4-legged mode on command. It is officially classified as a civilian vehicle with a starting price of $574,000. Unitree founder Wang Xingxing personally demonstrated the machine in the launch video, sitting inside the torso-mounted cockpit. The company is already pursuing an IPO on China's STAR market, with full year 2025 revenue up 335% year on year. The robotics race just entered a completely new dimension.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's crazy. Punching through brick walls. Wait till they get that on the battlefield, right? Yeah. That's what they're going to... Come on. Where do the robots go? Right? Where do the robots... We can't fight our own wars. Get out of here. From Samuel Fisher on Twix. Divers are doing routine maintenance check at the Converse Reservoir Dam in Mobile, Alabama, discovered an underwater grenade-type IED. The FBI bomb squad had to be called in to safely detonate it. So you see, they're going after water. While the data centers are going up, they're going after the water supply. Just like the Strait of Hormuz being choked off and killing 20% of the oil supply, and people start blowing up oil refineries and rigs. Same concept. You see what they're doing? The reservoir and dam are critical infrastructure. This is being called an unprecedented threat. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has been made aware of the situation. Or is this a false flag? I don't know. The way that they're spinning it, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very likely that somebody's actually going after the water supply, because why not choke out the residents? It's better for them if people go thirsty. Know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. All right. I have no idea what this is next. Oh, this is the Brazilian police giving a suspected drug dealer the gentlest arrest ever. A little lighthearted goodness, guys, from the cops in Brazil. Let's check this out, all right? This is a post from Barat Beats and Rodrigo Pexicot, Piac, something or other. Check it out. And wake him up. You guys gotta see this. Wow. They're like rubbing his face awake. They're gently nuzzling him.
Desculpa atrapalhar o seu sono, tá? Que a gente vai te conduzir até a delegacia. Eu falei que ia voltar, você lembra? Que o próximo era você? Essa moral aí. Devagar, Peixoto. Devagar pra ele não se machucar. Você tá preso. Você está preso, você vai pra cadeia. Essa moral aí. Tá? Moral? Sem machucar ele, Peixoto. Sem machucar. Vamos almoçar, tomar o café da manhã dele. Só que vai ser lá em Bangu, tá? Teu café da manhã. Vambora.
So this guy mistakenly thinks that these guys, I didn't catch that the first time. They think he goes in to kiss the cops. Let's check this out one more time. He wakes up and he thinks that the cop is his girlfriend. He goes for a kiss. He was going for the kiss. No beso me. Get out of here.
Que a gente vai te conduzir até a delegacia. Eu falei que ia voltar.
That was fun, right? You guys like that. I know. I like it. I hope you liked it. I liked it a lot. All right, guys, final stretch. We are at the Iran section from Bushra Shaikha. I think that's how you might pronounce it. Admiral Brad Cooper says the investigation into U.S. airstrikes on the Manab school is complex. Let's see what the guy has to say. Let's see, and then I'll continue with the post.
The United States does not deliberately target us.
Got that part.
Period. Full
Oh,
stop.
no?
And nor are the Iranian people our enemy. The IRGC is the adversary in this case.
I
The
heard that in
investigation-
your opening statement, Admiral. I asked you a very specific question, and I'm curious what the answer is.
So the investigation is ongoing. As soon as it is complete, I'm happy to be as
So that's a
transparent
no.
as possible.
We will not
And-
take
and what-
responsibility
and-
for something we very obviously did.
And what, sir, it's a complex investigation. The school itself is located on an active IRGC cruise missile base.
Absolutely.
It's more complex than the average strike. As soon as we're complete, I'm fully committed to transparency, given your important oversight role and the other members here.
Just so you know, and I have an enormous amount of respect for you and an enormous amount of respect for the Pentagon, I do not trust that answer. What we've seen out of the Secretary of Defense and his callous disregard for any sort of rules of engagement or protecting civilian life may make us suspicious. And that's the only second question I have for you. Do you think it's ever appropriate for anybody in a leadership position to use the words no quarter when describing how we are conducting our operations in Iran?
So I think it's appropriate as military leaders, we follow the law of armed conflict and our constitutional responsibilities, and that's what we've done.
And you would agree that no quarter is not following the law?
I would agree it's our constitutional responsibility to follow the law. The United States does.
He's not going to back. He's not going to back Pete Hegseth's statement. You see, he calls them the Secretary of Defense the old way. No, it's the Secretary of War now. It's the Secretary of War. All right, so this Bushrag goes on to state in the post, I'd like to remind you, triple tap U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles were fired. Triple tap. On a busy school day, many children were still alive after the first strike. As some tried to flee to another part of the school, they were targeted again, this time with teachers and parents too. That's complicated. That's pretty complicated. There's so many things that go into targeting these strikes. They know what they're hitting. Let's stop playing games here, people. Come on, let's be adults. Let's see what the big adult in the room has to say. Let's see. We already heard him say this. He admitted the war in Iran was not for America. It is to help Israel. We already saw that, so we're not going to go through that one. From Eric Daughtry, Iran reportedly caused a nuclear power plant fire. Yes, Iran attacked a nuclear power plant in, I believe, the UAE. Yes, with a drone. They hit a generator, I believe. I don't think there's any leak or anything. Let's see what the Fox News report says. Check it out.
Yeah, Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is live in Tel Aviv. I'm sure he's got more for us. Trey?
Yeah, guys, good morning. We do start with some breaking news out of the UAE, where officials say that a drone attack against a nuclear power plant caused a fire at a generator on the outskirts of the facility. This is a significant attack and likely conducted by the Iranian regime. It comes as tension continues to rise across the Middle East as the region waits to see if the war will resume in the days ahead. So far, efforts toward a diplomatic solution with Iran have been unsuccessful, with officials in Tehran unwilling to make the necessary concessions to reach a deal. President Trump spoke on his return flight from China, indicating he didn't like the first sentence of the Iranian response to the U.S. peace proposal.
I looked at it, and if I don't like the first sentence, I just throw it away. What was the first sentence? An unacceptable sentence.
Yeah, Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is live.
Unacceptable. What was the sentence? We must have nuclear weapons? No, that's not it. Next up from Suleiman Ahmed. U.S. response to Iran's proposal. Iran must hand over 400 kilograms of uranium to the United States. No compensation for the damages incurred. Only one Iranian nuclear facility may remain in operation, and none of Iran's frozen assets will be released. No ceasefire throughout the region. So that's the proposal? Huh? Oh, they're talking about the, I guess the Lebanon thing. Yeah, they're not going to stop with Lebanon. That can't be part of the deal. I'm guessing that's the new no ceasefire throughout the region part. From Furkan Gozukara, U.S. intelligence officer Scott Ritter confirms Iran warned Russia about a devastating retaliation plan. Now, if the war pops off again, you know, should we go back in? And we're very likely going to resume operations. We're not going to get out of there like we should. Do you really think that we're going to do the right thing? Come on. I know we hope we'll do the right thing. We pray that we'll do the right thing. But do we really think that these people pulling the strings are going to do the right thing? Exactly. So if Washington attacks, I'll let you hear it from Scott Ritter.
Iran doesn't fear him. Iran knows the following, and it has been briefed to China and Russia, that if the United States attacks, the United Arab Emirates will cease to exist as a viable nation state. It's all over for the UAE. Kuwait may go that way, Bahrain may go that way, but at a minimum, the United Arab Emirates will be erased from the planet. They will have no fresh water, no ability to generate power, and they'll have no ability to generate gas or oil. They'll be bankrupt, they'll be thirsty, and they'll be baking in 54-degree temperature because there's no air conditioning. That's the end of two of the greatest cities in the Middle East, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. They'll be gone, depopulated, along with the rest of that nation. And that's the fate of all other Gulf Arab states if they want to play this game. Iran is done playing games. They're done playing the game of escalation management. They will no longer match the escalation of others. If they are attacked, they're coming in with the knockout blow. This has been Iran doesn't.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, though. I don't know about this whole nuclear power plant thing. That very likely could be a false flag. Just putting it out there. Next up from Mario Norfolk, Trump gives Iran a deadline. 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, maybe early next week. A limited period of time. So Iran has a new deadline. It ends Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe Monday. I was hoping that this was the clip, but it looks like Mr. Mario Norfolk doubled down on the same clip, and it's not the clip about the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I can't play that for you guys, all right? I apologize. I'm sorry. But we are at the end. This is the last post of the episode. What do we have here? We've got Trump saying something. He's talking about Benji Netanyahu. Let's see what he's got to say.
Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strikes.
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's.
So Netanyahu will do whatever you want him to do.
He's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister.
Yeah.
And he's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister.
You're doing pretty good.
I had a poll this morning.
Right
I'm 99%.
Yeah.
So that's good. But no, he's a wartime prime minister, and I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President, what do you consider
I think they have a president over there that treats him very poorly.
You're on the same page with him on Iran?
Yeah.
Mr. President, what did you say to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strikes?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do.
I had to hear it again. He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. Do you think he believes that? There's no way. Another one from Tory Brooks. Saudi Arabian Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan says Kingdom of Saudi Arabia expresses its deep appreciation for Trump's decision to give diplomacy a chance to reach an acceptable agreement that will end the war. Restore security of freedom and navigation in the Strait of Hormuz to the state. Okay, so they're corroborating a story. All right, whatever. I bite my tongue. I eat my foot. I do whatever. But I don't bend no knee. Freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz that existed before February 28th, 2026. Yeah, when we started this shit. Right? All right, a vehicle caught fire in the Wall Street district of New York City. Look at that. That's wild. That's a car fire? That's crazy, right?
Good morning, everybody. I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. I'll be spicy till midday and then mild into the afternoon. A possible tropical cyclone at 4 p.m. So prepare yourself.
All right. I didn't know that was there.
I mean, you're going to see things that are amazing. You're going to see a lot of amazing things over the next 3 years for our country. And I'd like to talk more about the economic, because we have $18 trillion being spent, and no country's ever had anything like that. We have car plants pouring in from Mexico, Canada. They don't want to be there. There's no reason to be there because they want to sell to our market. We have car companies and plants coming in from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, coming in by the billions. And they're being built now. You're going to see things that nobody thought was possible.
Mr. President,
You're going to end up saying he's the greatest president that ever lived. Goodbye, everybody.
James called me over the weekend, Mr. President.
What happened to all the winning we were supposed to be like we were going to have so much winning we weren't going to know what to do with it. Oh my goodness. What is this? Why smart people fall for the biggest lies? I don't know. Why is that? I'm not even...
We're building a great ballroom. It's been needed. It's a very military complex. The roof is actually a drone port. The roof of the ballroom is a drone port, and it gives great safety to everything below. So it's good. We're building a really great ballroom, but it's also a strong military position for our people.
Yeah, it's not
En un
just the
día como
ballroom.
hoy, en el 1902, la bandera cubana ondeó por primera vez sobre un país independiente. Pero sé que hoy ustedes, quienes llaman a la isla su hogar, atraviesan dificultades inimaginables. Hoy quiero compartirles la verdad sobre el motivo de su sufrimiento y quiero contarles lo que nosotros en los Estados Unidos le ofrecemos para ayudarlos no solo a aliviar la crisis actual, sino también a construir un futuro mejor. La razón por la que se ven obligados a sobrevivir 22 horas al día sin electricidad no se debe a un bloqueo petrolero por parte de Estados Unidos. Como ustedes saben mejor que nadie, llevan años sufriendo de apagones. La verdadera razón por la que no tienen electricidad, combustible ni alimentos es porque quienes controlan su país han saqueado miles de millones de dólares, pero nada ha sido utilizado para ayudar al pueblo. Hace 30 años, Raúl Castro fundó una empresa llamada Gaesa.
All right, well, he pretty much, that's Secretary Marco Rubio, offering Cubans a new path in a special video address. And he's pretty much saying that it's not the United States blockade that is causing the blackouts, it's the corrupt politicians that are causing the blackouts. And it is both. We are helping destroy Cuba because we want to flip their government. But he's got the audacity to try to plead with the Cuban people because, you know what? They're hypnotized too. You know, there's certain sects of every population that's going to be hypnotized and they're going to be awake. They're going to be running around like puppets and they're going to be, I don't know, living their lives. But I can't listen to that. Number one, it's not translated. It's all in Spanish, and I can't translate it that fast for you guys, so I really have to apologize on that one. From BRICS News, Iran's IRGC says 26 ships crossed the Strait of Hormuz in the past 24 hours. They had some polymarket numbers on those ships moving. That was I don't know. Somebody could be making some money right now. A little more from Trump.
Candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe
I don't want to hear it.
Did you know?
All right, I've had enough. Have you guys had enough? That was one long post, Toria Brooke. I'll tell you. But that's it, folks. I have got to go. I think y'all know what time it is. It is time for me to get out of here. It is time to say goodnight. So thank you so much for enjoying this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know why I just assume you enjoyed it. But I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you would like to continue to join me for another one. So if you do, please feel free to drop on by. Share the show. Please like and subscribe. I'm a new YouTube channel, so I really can use the propulsion into the whatever sphere. I need the algorithmic manifestation. I don't know just give me a little help here, all right? I could really need it. And try to be easy. Try not to let all this doom and gloom, get to you because, like I said, this is all just an illusion. We are all just, we're mobilized in these little bodies, these vehicles, but we're not even supposed to be here. We're spiritual. We're beings of energy. And we're trapped in this world, this satanic reality, to watch this fucking big long show that's driving us all crazy because they want us to feel like shit and they want us dead. So spite them. Do not feel like shit. Enjoy your life. Have a great time. Have a great week. Love y'all. Peace. I am out of here.